So test, gotta see how loud we have to talk.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Smile like that.
It's a regular smile.
Was it?
It's crystal clear, we've been on a year, we're struggling straight along the way, but having you by my side makes everything okay. We're watching video clips of all types of shits, laughing out loud, we really hate this crowd, and we don't know where to go, hopefully take it slow. Lots of hustler minds will reject and decline our approach to life, and that, well, that's just fine. We wanna let others live because it's none of our business. We press your chest upon our mess. There's so many minds, hey, I'd like to unwind. See beyond this place, we want a part of this race. We do what we can, you better tap out, man. You're about to pass out or get a pick for the cloud. Why is it so hard out here? And they made it so weird. Try to stay woke and humble and joke. It's fucking hard out here.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of It's Fucking Hard Out Here. I'm Joel Morales,
And I'm Karena Ayala.
and today we have a very special guest, a longtime friend, Mr. Hollywood himself, Mr. Newsman of the Hour, on and off, Jared Ortega. What's up, dude?
Hey, hello everyone. Hi.
So, one of the more notable things about you, I would say, I guess, publicly, is that you've worked for, how many different news broadcasting organizations have you worked with?
Only two, but I went back to one
Okay.
a
That's
couple
why,
of times. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it seemed like more. Okay, so you just went back to it. Okay, the
Yeah.
same way.
ABC was my first. ABC in El Paso was my first job in high school. I was still like 16 and doing the weekend mornings.
Oh, wow.
So I'd go from like Friday night partying with this guy, stay up all night, and then go into work, and then go and follow drunk driving accidents and bar stabbings and being delirious from being awake at 2:00 in the morning at this TV station.
I remember you would kind of lecture us a little bit too sometimes when you would like see drunk driving.
It was just scarring to like go to this stuff and then have to.
Oh, man.
They call it like vulture patrol. Whenever, yeah, you know. So yeah, you worked in news, right?
Yeah, for a little bit.
How did you get into that?
My ex was a photographer or a videographer, and so he went into the news station and got a job there, and
You hooked it up.
yeah, basically.
Cool. What was it, like NBC or
It was
what affiliate?
It was Fox and another one. There was two in one. I think it was
You said
NBC.
fuck?
I know.
Fucker.
Fox.
Yeah, it was Fox and NBC, I think. It's been a while, yeah. But that was fun. I really liked it.
What did you do?
It's been a while.
I was a master control to begin with, which is, I don't know if a lot of people know what that is, but it's like we make sure that the commercials come on at the right time and you don't get the black screen whenever you're watching TV.
Keep the programming alive.
And then I went to editing after that, and it was fun. Yeah.
So when you're up late watching local television and there's just a black screen, you know what's
I didn't
going on.
press
Now.
Someone fucked up.
Yeah.
Someone fell asleep. They didn't push the button in time.
Yeah.
It's literally just a button, right?
Yeah.
Like you just do.
What do you think of Newsroom?
It's a love-hate relationship, more so on the hate side.
Oh yeah.
It's like seeing how the sausage is made and how
Yeah.
the decisions in the newsroom is made and what actually grabs the eyeballs and keeps the ad dollars flowing in.
Yeah.
That's what you cater
Yeah.
your stories and
Yeah,
your news
those
to.
meetings were always so weird about like, okay, everyone pitch your ideas.
Ugh, hated pitches.
Why? Why'd you hate them?
Well, my experience was like we would have to bring in 3 pitches every day.
Oh, every day?
Yeah.
Dang.
And so then that means after I got off of work the previous night, I already had to be working to figure out what my pitch was for the next day. And it was so stressful, like laying there in bed, like panicking that I wasn't going to have a story. Because if you don't have a story, then your boss is pissed.
Yeah.
And then it's like this whole domino effect that just, it sets up the day. Depending on how your pitches go, depends on how the day is going to go. And so usually you want like some really solid stories to go in with. That way you can just leave the meeting and go do your thing. But if you didn't have a pitch, or they didn't like the pitch, or everybody's got their own opinions of what story you should do and what should be covered. So a lot of times I'd have these 3 pitches that I was stressing about all night long, and then I'd get there to the morning meeting. They didn't like any of them.
Yeah.
And then I'd be scrambling the rest of the day to try to figure something out.
No, I couldn't reuse them.
God. So they can just straight up deny them. They're like, you need more. You need new ones.
Yeah. And it would happen all the time.
Oh my God.
And I got to the point where I would just go to ChatGPT, and then if I didn't have anything, I'd just be like, give me a news pitch story for this area. Just to like, yeah, just to kick off some ideas of like, well, maybe I could make this work. Maybe I could find a news story that's along these lines.
Did it work?
Crazy.
A couple of times, not as often. It kind of, the AI has limits. And so
Yes.
sometimes I'd do it too much and it would give me the same results. And I'd be like, damn it. All right.
See, y'all are scared of AI out there. It's like so basic and primitive. It's not even.
I think it's really funny when people that like work in AI are like, y'all are freaking out for nothing.
Because
Like,
it's limited by the information that it has and it's provided, right? Like that's it. Like there's nothing to worry about. It's like it's only as strong as we let it get, right?
I love the memes that have come out of this. Like they're freaking hilarious. Oh, I don't have one as an example.
Well, it's like the classic, the Terminator John Connor meme,
Yeah.
where he's like, hope you're having fun with AI. And he's,
Yeah,
like,
John
staring
Connor
at-
looking at you guys making friends with AI.
Yay.
You know, you got to be nice to it so when they do take over, they'll
Yeah,
remember.
exactly.
They'll remember.
Don't cuss at it. You know? Be nice.
That is
It
one,
knows all your secrets, so,
Yeah.
you know.
exactly. That's one aspect of it that's kind of terrifying. Like that database is not going to go anywhere. It's there, and it'll always have access to it. So
And what's interesting was like getting to see the like evolution of technology from when I started in high school, and we were still on
Yeah.
like tape to tape.
Oh, yeah.
And we're doing master control. Like you'd have to get all your footage and basically burn it onto a celluloid tape, and then they would use that in master control to switch back and forth to for the stories. And then I got to help completely rewire the master control for
Oh, wow.
digital signals,
oh,
and
crazy.
set up all the servers and run all the wires and hook up all the cameras and all that stuff. And then now seeing like even more of the technological evolution with AI, and then like back in the day, live trucks were a big thing. Like
Yeah.
you would, all these TV stations had fleets
Yeah.
of like multi-million-dollar live trucks with the satellite dish and the mast and
Yeah.
and all the build-outs, and they got rid of all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Fly anymore, right?
they'll usually keep at least one to have as like a backup. But now everything is in the cloud,
Yeah.
and I was literally like rolling up to scenes of an accident with my iPhone, recording, and then just uploading it straight to the server, and then it goes live.
That's. Were you doing that for the shooting, the mass shooting in El Paso?
Yeah, I did that. Well, that one I had. So they replaced live trucks with live streaming belt packs
Okay.
that are like about that big, and you just plug your camera straight into it, turn it on, it gets a signal, and then the TV station can pick it up and broadcast it. So it was like having this like global telephone, where as soon as I plugged into it, turned it on, potentially all the news networks could pick up my stream.
Yeah.
And then, just having that power just carrying around with you. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, because I saw your footage everywhere, honestly.
It was surreal to see, like, the next day, all my footage was on, like, Good Morning America
Right,
and The Today Show and AP News.
Yeah.
And it's just neat to see, like, how you can literally, like, touch the world with your footage that way.
So those are definitely some of like the funner aspects of the job, right? And get to see the technology.
That's the side that I enjoy.
Yeah.
That I've always enjoyed. And then just the politics of news is like the worst.
The classic.
It's bad. Do you ever make a mistake that was like, broadcast.
Yes. Yeah, that was. You make a mistake and millions of people see it potentially.
Yeah.
And then it's like recorded for history because they have the archives of every show. I accidentally left my countdown track in my script.
Yeah.
Like a countdown track. Yeah, like it's kind of it's an old school reporter thing where when you're editing, it kind of sometimes makes it easier when you're recording your reporter track.
Okay.
Of like 3, 2,
Yeah.
1, and then you go into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I left that in the 3, 2, 1, and I was so scrambled. I was like right up against my deadline. I had like 5 minutes to edit everything. I just had to get it up on air, and that's the thing. It's like no matter what, when that deadline comes, whatever you have to get it in. You have to make your slot, and so I was just completely frazzled, and it was like the worst to get the phone call like from my boss being like, Jared, what happened? You left your countdown track in.
So you hadn't known that it was included until he called you?
Yeah. I just thought, I was like, yeah, I did it. And then I get home and like all my family, and they're like, hey, what happened? What was that?
Oh, damn. I think I remember that happening, yeah. You talking about it. Hopefully someone out there was just like, oh, the news is getting so avant-garde. So creative now.
I mean, it's not the first time it's ever happened to anybody. But,
Yeah.
And then it's like a good teacher, because after that, it's like, okay, I'm never doing that again. I can just go straight into my script and learning to edit really quickly.
Yeah.
Was another big like plus from that, because it's like, yeah, you have to know like shoot to edit. So to make it so much easier for you when you're up against your deadline, you can practically just take your raw footage, drop it in without any editing. Maybe little bits like cut off the front and the back of the clip for like when you actually hit the button and the camera shakes.
Right.
But beyond that, nothing too extensive, so you can like crank out content faster.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Learn that.
it was like sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 stories a day, and with all the interviews that and all the footage, all the B-roll that I'd have to edit. So it was just like a constant stress factory of like, just get through this one, get that one in, go to the next one, and just keep the hamster wheel rolling.
That's so difficult. Like, what do you do if nothing's going on, or at least to anyone's awareness? Like, it just seems like a dull day in the town. You know?
And where I was reporting, like Las Cruces, New Mexico, it's a small town of like 75,000 people.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of times where it's just quiet family town, nothing going on, and you literally have to like make controversy. Like find some controversial aspect, something that happened a week ago or that's about to happen, and just go with that.
Oh, that's so sad. You just have to look for the trouble.
And then I've had days where it was like a nothing burger.
Yeah.
And then telling the newsroom, they're like, okay, well, we'll punch up the writing. And then they make it so controversial just in the writing. It's like, well, there really wasn't that much of a drama, but you got to make your deadline and make it interesting.
Dang. So do they go as far as to just like straight up lie about something sometimes?
No, I mean there is like some ethics.
Yeah, okay.
You have to have your sources, but you can, everybody sees the same event differently, and so you can kind of like,
That's how they get away with it.
Yeah. And then you have your sources, your interviews, and so you kind of like match the soundbite to make it to create the narrative that you're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the narrative you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, so you went to school for broadcasting? Is that correct? Or
well, I've always been involved in it to some extent. My dad was a reporter and an anchor and a news director in El Paso, and that's how I got into it.
Yeah.
I like
Local
grew
celebrity.
up at the TV stations.
Aw.
And so it's like in my blood, and then I went to school for film, sort of.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember you telling me once about sort of how I guess, major broadcasting networks do have attend? Like, they all get the same narrative to get it out to the country, but it's all like verbatim, word for word. And like, you knew about that going on well before, it was put on blast on the internet, because you have those like compilation videos where they just like piece them all together and then they're all reciting the same script.
Yeah, from different stations across the country saying the same thing.
And so you were like well aware of those types of occurrences.
Yeah,
beforehand, right?
those are called must runs.
Must runs.
Yeah, and they are handed down from corporate. Usually, like Sinclair Broadcasting is a big corporation that buys up small town, small market TV stations.
Ours was Nexstar.
Nexstar. Okay, yeah. I've worked with Nexstar before, and
That's crazy.
and then so you end up with what you think is like your local trusted news reporter, and they're just basically a mouthpiece for the corporation, but you can't tell the difference.
Yeah. God,
And
wild.
that was actually
really weird.
one of the things that one of the reasons I left working broadcast news in Austin for the CBS affiliate here was they would send me out on these must runs or just stories, and they'd hand me like a list of questions, and I'm just a hired gun at that point. Like, I just show up, I start asking these questions, and people would be like, "Why are you asking me this? This has nothing to do with why we're here."
Whoa.
And then they would take that clip and broadcast it to millions of homes in Central Texas.
Wow.
And it's like a gotcha journalism. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't even want to answer the question.
Yeah. That's crazy. And then you look like
Perfect.
an asshole.
Well, yeah, it just feels ugly because it's like you have these skill sets to communicate to the world, and you're using it as like propaganda for a right-wing corporation.
The big P word. That should be a curse word, honestly.
Ooh, that's an interesting take. So you started super young, and so are you staying in that? Are you going to go back to like reporting and journalism, or are you done with it?
I dipped my toe back in recently because I wanted to see how it's changed, if it's changed at all.
No way.
And the technology changed, but the philosophy and the culture is still the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
That's fair.
and then just being in the public eye is, some people can deal with it. I probably was not. I know I wasn't in a good mental health state to deal with all of that. Not only just the stress from the job and the deadlines, but then going to the grocery store and having people want to talk my ear off because they saw me on TV.
No way.
And people constantly pitching me stories. And the other aspect too
Even
is,
the worst of it. Like, it gets bad if you're willing to share some of those.
well, yeah, the worst of it is like there's times where almost on the daily, people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, your station did a story on me like 10 years ago about a domestic dispute that I was involved in, and I went through the courts and it was dismissed, but now it's still on Google whenever you look up my name, and I can't find a job." And so like people would come up to me and be like, "How do I clear my name? And like, can you help me?" And like all this stuff. And TV stations have really no interest in like rehashing stories from 10 years ago about somebody that was
A follow-up.
involved in an assault or follow-up, exactly.
God.
And so I just would feel like, I don't know, kind of in danger at times because I'm like, I don't know if
Absolutely.
somebody's going to take it out on me one of these days.
Yeah.
And I've been standing on a street corner doing my reporter stand-up and having just somebody drive by and throw a soft drink at me.
No way.
Yeah. And so it just makes the whole experience just kind of gritty and ugly. And so, that whole thing, that's why I prefer like the documentary space, because you can actually tell really thought out, in-depth stories.
Yeah, right.
Without it being a minute 20 long, and just, the highlights of whatever's happening and then move on to the next story. You can actually like take your time and really fish out the details.
Yeah. So is that what you do now? Like, or do you like to spend your time doing that?
That's what I like to do, that like, and narrative films. And
Can Can you talk about any of the projects that you've worked on recently, or is that kind of?
Yeah. So what's the last one I did? I'm trying to think. There's so many that end up like happening back to back,
Yeah.
and sometimes I never see them. I did one in Aspen just recently. There's a show called Buying Beverly Hills. It's on Netflix. It's a reality show.
Oh, really?
And that's the reality space is funny because it's like
Oh yeah, talk about that. That's hilarious. Some of the things you've told me about.
reality.
Yeah.
And it's it's all for the most part it's like producers coming up with ideas on the fly of like how can we make this more interesting.
Yes.
And then creating drama on the set and
Yeah.
capturing documentary style.
Like legit just causing conflict for the sake of the show and not notifying the like participants. They just like do it behind closed doors.
Just to get the reaction. I worked on a series called Finding Love Off Grid, and sometimes the families that you're following just I guess like entertainment wise they're not really that good. They're just there to like build a house.
Yeah, because they're normal.
And they're not, they're normal people.
It's
They're
regular
not
folks.
reality stars. And then, so the producers will like grab a solar panel and chuck it off a roof
Gosh.
just to get their reaction of seeing like one of their panels just shatter. And then, well, what do you do now? You're out in the middle of nowhere and your solar panel's broken.
How are you gonna make it?
Yeah.
And then shove a camera in your face and a microphone.
And they're all like, why'd you throw that off?
You're paying for that, right?
God,
they?
that would be hilarious if they just see it.
Okay. It's like, oh my gosh.
They do pay for it? Well, that's nice of them, I suppose.
It's just a small investment to get a return.
That's so wild.
And you film in your free time too, right?
Oh, and yeah, and every day, that's like my happy place is being able to. I've got a drone and several cameras that I'll use for time lapse photography, and I just find it very peaceful to like set up a camera and just watch the scenery go by.
Yeah.
Or flying the drone is a rush because it's a pretty expensive drone. And there's so many laws that you have to abide by, and
I never even thought of that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to have a license and everything.
you don't have to. You can fly under a hobby
Oh, okay.
license, but of course everything is tracked once you have a license. Like as soon as you mess up, like they know,
Yeah.
and you have to report it to the FAA, and you can risk losing your license.
Yeah. Well, everything's legal until you get caught.
Exactly. That's my philosophy.
Remember that one time you were in New York, I think, and you were longboarding through a tunnel, and you had a backpack on, and they thought you were a terrorist.
So this is unfortunately a claim to fame at this point. Yeah, it was the second movie I've ever worked on. I was filming in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I was filming for like 2 weeks straight, around the clock. I maybe got 3 hours of sleep a night at best.
That's crazy.
And so the delirium was heavy, and my boss at the time, when I told her my plan was to fly out of New York City, I wanted to go see Times Square and play tourist because I'd never been up there. I was 19,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
and
Young.
it was like the first big like adventure to like get out of the state, get out of my hometown, and my boss tells me, well, I live pretty close to Times Square. Why don't you come stay with me? And she's like, that way, you'll be safer. I was planning on staying in a hostel, and she's like, no, just like, you'll be safe. Just come stay with me.
She should come back to work.
And this was after we had wrapped the film. It was a movie called Warrior. It's a UFC fighting film, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that's I haven't seen it, but yeah, I've seen it like on like Netflix or whatever.
It's got Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
You worked with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it's neat. Back in the day. And so we wrapped, and I was completely just zonked from just total exhaustion. Drove up to New York, and then I got to my boss's apartment, And all I wanted to do was just crash out, go to sleep for a day, recover. And I would get there and she's like, so I haven't seen my boyfriend in like 3 months. She's like, do you mind just finding something to do?
As soon as you
Of course, yeah, no worries, I got this.
Yeah, that's the worst, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is in 2009. And so like the GPS technology was like just getting going. And so I had like one of the first like Garmin GPSs that I bought with like some Christmas money. And
You used to have to buy GPS separately, kids.
yeah, it wasn't automatically built into your phone. And that was the thing. So at that period I had a phone. I had like actually the very first iPhone that I carried with me.
Wow.
I had my Garmin GPS, and these things are like massive like devices. And then I had my point and shoot camera, you know, because the iPhone didn't quite have all of that incorporated yet. So I had all three of these devices just like stashed in my pocket.
Utility belt style.
Yeah. And I ended up, my boss gave me some bus tickets and she drew me a map on a napkin. Like, here, take this bus, go here, get on this bus. It'll take you to Times Square. And nothing, it's just going in one ear and out the other. It's just like nothing's making sense.
Of course, yeah. It's your first time out there, and they're naming all these like rails and stuff, and you're just like, what?
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've got my GPS. I'll find my way. Only to find out that the signal, it would just cut in and cut out. It was not consistent. I'd see myself, my location on a map, and then it would drop the signal. And it would be gone for like 10 minutes. And then it'd pop up again. And I'd be in a different location. And so I was kind of like finding my way that way. And so I get onto the bus that I thought she told me to get on. And I'm looking at my GPS, and every couple of minutes I see my marker go further and further into New Jersey as opposed to going into New York. And I'm thinking like, it took a while, like a good like 15 minutes to be like, I think I'm going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And so, you know, not being from that area, I so used to like Texas hospitality and like, you know, you can go
Ask a question.
ask a question. So I asked the bus driver and I was like, hey, does this go to Times Square? And I get this like real robust, like, no. Okay, what bus does go to Times Square?
Yeah.
And he's like, do I look like a fucking schedule to you?
That's awesome and terrible.
And I was so like over everything at that point. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna get off the bus. I've got, I had my longboard skateboard. I've been skating for so long with this guy since we were kids. And so it was always firmly attached to me. So I was like, I'm just gonna skate there. And
how far out were you?
Yeah,
it was
real. Like,
so when I did have service on my GPS, it would tell me that I was only 3 miles from from Times Square.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, oh, 3 miles is nothing. I've done like 20 miles on a longboard before.
Yeah.
And so I start skateboarding through this kind of sketchy neighborhood in New Jersey, and like passing by like just babies in their diapers on the street corner, and just like,
Oh my gosh.
hi,
Dang.
as I'm cruising by.
Yeah.
And
rough.
What a scene.
I eventually get to, so it's getting dark at this point. Like, the sun is setting, and my GPS leads me to the Lincoln Tunnel, which is like a big commuter tunnel going in and out of New York. And I remember like getting to the entrance, like there's a toll booth, like it's like a 16-lane highway that goes through this tunnel, and there's a toll booth that at the entrance. And I remember standing there looking at it like, that's a lot of traffic. And I'm looking at my GPS, and it says the nearest pedestrian walkway to New York is another 5 miles north. And it's already dark, and I'm already exhausted. And I'm like, I don't want to have to skate another 5 miles.
Yeah.
and this area is like so chaotic. It's all new to me.
Yeah.
And I see like a little worker walkway, like a little path in the tunnel. And I'm like, oh, there's a little sidewalk I can ride on.
You can skate that.
And so I'm looking at traffic, and I wait for like a gap so I can cut across 8 lanes.
Oh God.
And I get my opportunity, and I just dart into the tunnel, and I get on this pathway, and I'm on my skateboard, and it's held together like there's a railing to separate you from the traffic. And the walkway, the little sidewalk, it's real narrow. It's like that big.
Jesus.
And there's rivets, like little like bolts and everything holding up the railing. And so since it was so narrow, my wheels would like run it over like every 5 feet.
Yeah.
So my board is constantly like doo doo, doo doo, doo doo.
Jeez.
And I was, cruising along. There's traffic, like full-blown semis,
Dude.
about that far away from me.
Oh my
like
God.
their mirrors were like about to clip my shoulder type thing. And it's loud, and then people are honking at me, and it's in a tunnel. And so when that happens, it's just like total chaos, so loud.
Yeah.
And I remember like just thinking like, maybe this is a bad idea. And
What's going on?
I was holding onto the railing to help balance me as my board is going over the bolts, and my hand starts just getting caked with black exhaust. And I can like feel myself breathing in all the exhaust gases.
Yes.
And it's at that point I'm like, maybe I should turn around.
Oh God.
And right when I had that thought, it went from mass chaos, loud, honking, traffic, to it completely emptied out. It was like an empty tunnel, dead quiet. And all you could hear were my wheels just like doom, doom,
What?
doom, doom.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? I'm wondering like what? And so I'm going a little further in, and then I have no idea like how long this tunnel is.
Yeah.
All I know is like my GPS told me to go in here, and now I'm in this tunnel and I have no signal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I hear sirens, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if there was a crash up ahead. And so still just cruising along, and at that point, so I have my point and shoot camera in my pocket, and I'm like, this is so cool, I need to capture this. And so I'm like recording myself, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, I'm in New York. And then whoop whoop, like 5 cop cars just come up and surround me, and they all draw their guns.
Oh my
God. Then it just becomes like, lights and sirens, and everybody's yelling at me to get on the ground. And so I toss my board over the railing, and I get down onto the street level, and I have my hands up, and the one cop just like runs up to me, rushes me, grabs me, and just body slams the crap out of me.
Of course, as
And-
one does.
And just starts rifling through my pockets, just pulling everything out. And my camera was still recording the whole time.
Yeah.
No way.
And so, I'm trying to explain to them, I'm not from here. I've been in town for 45 minutes. I literally just landed.
No
They did not give 2 shits.
Yeah, no, I don't think it.
And the whole time, I would just be like, guys, I'm lost. I made a mistake. And I'd just be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just like,
how dare you speak and try to explain your situation?
No, they have to secure and detain, They have a situation. They gotta.
and then
You're a liar, obviously.
at the time, I was thinking like, oh, this is so funny. Like, this is going to be like such a great story. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse of like the reality of it all set in. And so I got booked into like a holding cell
No
in New
way.
Jersey. And then I was thinking like, if I just tell them what happened, that I'm a lost little boy, they're just going to let me go. They'll understand.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like that's not the process here. And so they booked me, and I'm like waiting around in this holding cell, and then I have these two guys, like bigger cops, come and ask for me. And it's like good cop, bad cop. One of them's in a suit. The other one's like New Jersey, like typical New Jersey, like a Jersey Shore style guy. He's got like
Nice.
like a bowl cut, and he's wearing like a sport jumper,
Yeah.
and he's got like a
Nice.
gold chain necklace.
Let's
That's
go.
awesome.
And it was Homeland Security there to interrogate me.
Wow.
And so they pulled me out of this holding cell, and they start walking me down this corridor, and I'm looking up, and there's like photos of all the police officers that they lost during 9/11
Oh crap.
as I'm walking through this corridor, and I'm like, oh, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
And so they take me to this police locker room in the back, and it's like out of a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's got one light hanging down from the ceiling, like dark corners.
Gosh.
I sit down on a bench. They handcuff me to the bench,
Oh my god.
and the good cop pulls up a chair right in front of me and is like, all right, we're just gonna talk about how you got here, starting from the very beginning. Where were you born?
No way. That was
And
the question?
And so it started with that, and I had to work through my whole life story to how I got to that point in the tunnel. And they were asking me all sorts of questions like, are you affiliated with any terrorist organizations? Do you hate this country for any reason? And I got like
Yes.
at that point, it's like, you don't want to say anything too incriminating about how you really feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
And I just wanted to answer whatever I could just to get out of there and like just explain to them like I'm lost.
Yeah.
I had to like giggle at some of these questions because they were just so absurd. I was wearing a shirt that I had gotten on a movie job, and it was a John Lennon tribute shirt.
Oh,
and it says Imagine Peace on it. It's just a black shirt that says Imagine Peace on it.
No.
And
You look extremist as all hell.
exactly, I was getting such a kick out of it, and so I was laughing. I'm like, no, I'm not affiliated with terrorist organizations.
Yeah.
And it was just like a classic like line. It feels like a line out of a movie, but they were just like, sir, this is no laughing matter. This is Homeland Security. And it just made me want to laugh even more. And
Keep it together.
And you're exhausted, obviously.
totally delirious,
Dude.
as I am most days, and especially after working some of these movie jobs. And so they eventually hear my whole story, but they cleared me from like the criminal aspects of the
Yeah.
charges.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Like I remember while I was being handcuffed and taken out of the tunnel, there was like teams of cops going up and down the tunnel with flashlights, looking to see if I dropped anything. And it was like that was the thing. I didn't connect like the time period that I was in with why that was a bad idea. Coming from El Paso, there's no tunnels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I couldn't go into a tunnel. I didn't know the scale and the size of that tunnel. And so then I realized, oh, they think I like dropped a bomb or like it's a huge artery into New York. And so,
Yeah.
and these guys are all scarred, like walking down that corridor every day with all the guys that they lost in 9/11. And so like, then it hit me. I was like, okay, they think I'm like a potential terrorist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting booked into county jail, spent 2 nights there.
No way. What did you get charged with?
I was charged with criminal trespassing, and they dropped the criminal charge and just,
The
Trespassing.
trespassing.
and so I'm very aware of what is public and private land and what is trespassing now. I'm super vigilant about what that is now.
Dang.
Did you lose any equipment?
So that was the thing. That camera that I had, it was rolling the whole time. And then while I was in that holding cell, they discovered that it was still recording.
Yeah.
And they flipped their shit.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
They like rushed me at the bars of the cell. And they were just like, he's gonna put this on YouTube. He's gonna put us on blast. You gotta delete this. And I was like, fine. I was so over it. I was like, I'm not here to cause trouble. And I just took it and deleted the file.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, they're like, can I go now? Can I go, please?
Such good footage.
Yeah.
I wish I had still.
Yeah.
Because what a crazy moment in time.
But then, so I got processed into the county jail, and I finally had a moment to sleep. It was like,
Jail.
slept the entire day. The cellmate that I had, unfortunately, it was like a small cell. It was one other guy. He was an older gentleman, and he had diarrhea the whole night.
Oh no.
So luckily, I was able to sleep through most of it, but there were times where he ran out of toilet paper and he was just banging on the door to get the guards' attention.
Dude, that's
And
horrible.
I could just hear him being like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long night."
No.
And my boss, the whole time I was making my one phone call to my boss, being like, "Hey, I'm in jail. You just saw me, but now I'm in jail." And
What did they say?
she was amazing. She's a true New York filmmaking professional.
Okay.
And she's like a little fireball. And she ended up arranging so that as soon as she posted my bail and got me out, I went straight to the courthouse to have my hearing, because otherwise I would have had to wait like 2 months and then had to go back. And which I was like, I'm never coming back to this place. And so we went straight to the courthouse. And like the whole time, the cops would tell me just like, what the fuck were you thinking? What the fuck were you thinking being in this tunnel? And then I go to the hearing, and the public defender, he like looked at my case and he's like, what were you thinking? And he's like, you have to plead guilty to this. You were in the tunnel. Like there's no other. He's like, you just have to plead guilty. So I was like, okay. So I go up to stand in front of the judge. He explains the charges, make sure I understand them. And then the judge was like, and what were you thinking?
Oh my God.
And it was like finally my one chance to explain, like, I've been here for 45 minutes, I got lost, and I ended up getting arrested. I just wasn't thinking. And so it was like just the running joke from the whole experience. And then at the very end, the nice part was, it was a public hearing. There were people there for like speeding tickets and other things. And this one guy, as I was walking out, he's like, that was you in the tunnel? He's like, I heard about you. And then he's like, dude, come here. And he's like, that was awesome. That's so cool. And so, yeah, then all the money I made from that movie
Went to
paying for my trespassing charges.
That sucks.
And my boss, she was like, I'm just getting you on the bus that takes you straight to LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah.
Like, bye. And so then I literally walked out of the courtroom, got on a bus, and then tried to make my flight to LaGuardia. And then, I don't know if you've ever been to New York, but LaGuardia Airport is a nightmare. And my flight was, coming up. I was already late. And then seeing this massive, horrific line to get to security.
Yeah.
And I was so done with this entire trip.
Yeah.
And I just went up to the front of the line and I just pleaded with the person. I was like, can you please let me get in front of you, cut the line? I've had such a horrible time. I need to get out of here.
Like I just got out of jail.
Is this guy bothering you? He's a terrorist.
You're about to let a terrorist cut in front of you.
God.
And he was like, well, you can't cut in front of me, but you can ask these people behind me.
Wow.
I was like, can I please get on this flight? Can you please let me? And then I go through security, and of course, like I had to take off my shoes and my belt, and my pants are hanging around my ass. I'm like running to the gate,
Oh my God.
just carrying all my stuff, just trying to make it the last person to board. And I sat down in my seat, and then immediately just started ugly cry, bawling, just.
Yep.
And,
God, it's so stressful.
and that's just one story. Like that's every time I do a movie, there's some obstacle. There's always something that I have to overcome.
But have you seen Times Square?
Still to this day, no. And I probably never will. People tell me I need to go back and conquer it, but I've also had New Yorkers be like, "Oh, yeah, you probably shouldn't go back. That's not the right city for you."
Wow.
I'm sure you can handle it now. It's just, I mean, dude, you had no idea you were so young. Like, you know, everyone messes up when they go there.
Scared little boy.
Exactly. Like when you're young and you go out there not knowing a thing about anything, you know, Jesus, like it is so different here in Texas than it is up there. Like I went up there when I was like 26, 25, something, I don't remember, but even then I was just like, oh my God, like I have no idea what's going on anywhere. Luckily though, I had like a guide, someone who had lived there before, you know, and I just followed their lead.
So luxurious.
Yeah, no, seriously, because we were catching like bus rides from one town to the next, you know, and I'm just like, you can just do that here? Like, what is happening?
You have to understand the pace of the city. Every city that you go to, you have to understand like what's the pace of the city and go with the flow of it.
Yeah. And like small ass towns too, like it's like, yeah, we're already at the edge of the state. I was like, what? We've been driving for like 20 minutes. They're like, yeah, no, this is the north side. I'm like, okay, we should go back, I guess.
So
like,
There was Delaware in there somewhere. You have to pass through several states.
it's so crazy. And then like catching the trains late at night, that was pretty crazy. I know you didn't get to experience any of that, but like that was wild. We went to Long Island for a wedding. You know, we stayed there, partied there all night, and then we caught like I think it's like the L or something like that. That's like the one from Long Island back to the main island, I guess, or however they refer to it. That's like more Hawaiian talk, but yeah, we
What
had
the
to get,
fuck are you thinking?
yeah, we had to get a train back to Brooklyn essentially, you know, and yeah, I think it was like 2 a.m. or something like that. We're just on this fucking train. There's no one around, you know. It's like, it's very eerie, of course, and I'm just waiting for like some sketchy stuff to happen, but thankfully we were fine, and we're exhausted too. I'm like trying not to fall asleep because I don't want to fall asleep, you know.
Yeah.
Just be vulnerable, yeah, but
Wake up with somebody jerking off in your face.
something, dude. I mean, gosh, like, I don't know. You just see and hear about like all these kinds of crazy things, but I guess it doesn't happen too often.
I never want to go to New York. It has never appealed to me.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah. It never appealed to me either. I was just like, I don't want to go to like the big city. I felt the moment we stepped off of the bus, because we didn't fly into New York. We flew into New Hampshire. And, you know, we stayed in New Hampshire for a few days, and then we went to New York for a few days just to like, you know, sightsee or hang out or whatever. But the moment we got off the bus into New York, I immediately felt like claustrophobic because you can't see the sky, and there's just like buildings all around you, and you're just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
like,
that does not sound good to
this
me.
is not natural.
Not into that.
And that's why I live in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, so now you're up in Colorado, dude, and it's like a complete opposite of that.
I live in the Rockies.
Even like a small city like Austin, you know, compared to like New York or whatever. But yeah, it's still like the city here, but yeah, you're out in the wilderness.
But yeah, it's like a sea of humanity here. As soon as I got back from Utopia Fest, I got rear-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Austin has a way of just always rear-ending me at the most inopportune time. The first day on the job at the CBS affiliate here, I had gone from a safety meeting with the engineers, and they were like, Austin drivers are crazy. You have to be on alert at all times while you're driving the news vehicles. And they handed me the keys to a live truck, and they were like, okay, go meet your live shot, go meet your reporter over at this location. I pulled out of the parking lot at the first stoplight, I'm sitting there, the light just turns green, and then I get rear-ended.
You got rear-ended.
That's rough.
In a
And
live truck.
I was like sweating bullets because HR had just told me, if you're ever in an accident, we will immediately send you to get a drug test.
Oh no.
And
Oh God.
and here I am, first day on the job,
From
pull out of the
Colorado.
parking lot, and I get rear-ended, and the whole time I'm just thinking like, that was it, that was my shot,
Yeah.
that was it,
Gone.
just all gone. And
Oh man.
I was so thankful. I had just smoked a joint the night before to like celebrate my new job, and the HR woman, she came, since I was right there across the street from the station. She like came and looked at it, and she's like, well, it's almost 5 and it wasn't your fault. I'm not going to send you to take a drug test.
There you go.
So I lucked out on that one.
Let's go, Texas.
Yeah. But it's,
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, it's that mentality.
you just have to, go with the pace of
Yeah.
everything. And even then you can still get run over.
It's crazy.
Did you
But-
make it to the shoot?
No, I didn't,
Yeah.
because I had to wait there for a cop to show up for a police report and the whole
Yeah.
thing. I went home immediately after that.
And things do work really slowly out here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like for example, in New York, you got prosecuted, and then you had your hearing like right immediately after.
But that was all the work
Yeah,
of
I
my
was gonna
boss.
say.
That never happens. But because my
Okay.
boss is so well versed in like the city government and all the permitting and having to talk to these people and push things through. And,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
otherwise, that would not have
Yeah,
happened.
but I mean, at least because I've heard people that have moved here from like New York or California or whatever, that are in some sort of like business that is high pace. They do complain about like how slow things move out here. They're just like,
And they hate the friendliness of it
everyone's
all.
just moseying along. It's like,
And they
hey,
just want to talk to you and ask you about your day. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get out of here.
When are you gonna start on my porch out there? When are you gonna build that deck that you said you were gonna build? Oh, we'll get to it. Don't worry, my guys are on it. We got this.
But it's, I do enjoy some aspects of city life and being able to like go to a show,
Yeah,
see some live music, hang out with friends.
for sure.
But I get so drained from it. But then I end up going in the other direction, like pretty extreme of like being isolated in the mountains for weeks and months on end.
Yeah, a little
and that's just as bad
Yeah.
for mental health.
Yeah.
But it's nice where I'm at because I'm only an hour and a half from Denver.
Okay.
So if there's a concert I want to go to after work, I have time to drive down the mountain
Yeah.
and go check it out.
Yeah.
That made me wonder, how do you deal with that? Because you're isolated and you don't want to be like completely immersed with people, but
I do stuff like this. I'll take a whole week, we went to Utopia Fest.
Yeah.
I started off this whole trip with a live cumbia show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Omar show, right?
yeah.
Duchasol and
Truchazo.
who was the group? I can't remember the name of the group. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm such a white boy when it
It's-
comes to.
Oh, I follow them. They're
I thought you
so
would've known,
good.
yeah.
It was like a punk rock cumbia.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. There was like a mosh pit, and everybody's like, just twirling and dancing and moshing. And
Yeah, cumbia is
I was
punk.
watching the
Yeah.
Instagrams for that.
They're from Mexico somewhere also. Yeah, they're not here. Yeah, I wanted to go to that show, but yeah, you started off going to that show.
yeah, and then Utopia Fest, all the music, Sucker Please,
Yeah.
and just
And just getting to see everybody too. It's been so long since you had seen anyone.
yeah. Before the pandemic, and then even then, there was like a couple of years where I hadn't swung by Austin,
Yeah.
and so it was just like soul opening. Finally,
With
getting to like have human contact and people that understand my silly
Yeah.
jokes and my crazy life.
And then the solar eclipse on top of that. Like, that was amazing.
I don't know how it was for you guys, but yeah, it was
Emotional.
real. Yeah.
Well, she's pretty cold-hearted, so I don't think it was.
I hate it. Because I knew that he was going through it, and I was like, I don't want to. Like, I
was
don't want
crying.
him to have this.
Really?
should have just done it. We could have shared that. It would have been fine. God.
big baby.
Your kids would have ruined it, though. They would have been like, why are you guys crying?
Yeah.
You don't get it.
They were so much
I
fun to
was-
hang out
yeah.
with too.
Oh,
Your
so
kids are
glad.
so amazing.
Kids are
and
silly.
yeah, they're so silly, but it just added to the fun because
Yay! I'm so glad.
that was actually the first Utopia Fest where I've actually like gotten to hang out,
Yeah.
especially like with your kids and everybody, and
Yeah.
it was like a whole new experience
Yeah.
to the festival for me.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Kids,
that is so wild.
They add a whole new element.
Because normally I'm just like zonked out of my mind on psychedelics.
Right.
So it was nice to,
party mode,
yeah.
Like, I'll just go halfway.
It was
Yeah.
hilarious. Like when, so you know how like her son would keep coming up and like asking her questions when we were watching Chick Chick Chick, and there was a moment where I noticed you were hanging out in the back and he had come and asked her some questions and he was about to leave, but you like kind of stopped him and just started like dancing in front of him, and it's so funny watching him like react. You know, like he didn't know what to do, so then he just starts like moving all like he's spazzing out or something. But he was like trying to dance. He's like,
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so cute seeing him dance. Like pulling him into it, just like, we're here to party. You made it to the end.
It's just like basic fundamental like human like reaction, you know, like just start mimicking like, oh, okay, like, here we go.
Just jumping up and down.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
We did it.
Cute.
But yeah, it was a blast, man. We'll probably talk about Utopia Fest in another episode. Gotta do a
for
recap.
sure.
We wanted to record.
I'm
out
so
there,
glad
too.
I got to experience it with you guys.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing.
just-
so much fun.
Yeah, soul opening.
Yeah, it couldn't have been better. Honestly, it was perfect, and just
was really
seeing
nice.
everybody,
And there weren't that many people compared to the previous years where it was like,
which made it so much nicer. Too,
Yeah.
because could see a lot of familiar faces too, and catch up with them. You know, all the utopians that are out there.
people that we made friends with, that at least I know I made friends with the first time I went.
Right.
And then to see them there again,
Really?
it's like everybody had like a decade of life in between,
Yeah.
and they flew in from other places, and just being able to catch up and just all the good vibes.
I mean,
That
yeah,
is
like
really cool.
Travis was married now, you know,
With kids.
I remember watching him perform a late night set on acoustic, you know, the quiet sessions. Like sitting next to him, and that was before they even started dating, really. And now they're married and they have children. You know, like it's crazy
Whoa.
to see that.
Yeah.
And I might have to bleep her name out. I don't know if they want that out there. But, you know, and then other people too, just that live out there. You know, now they're like married and they have kids and starting family. It's
Everyone's
just like,
growing
whoa,
up
that's
and
so
stuff.
wild.
Yeah, it was neat to see everyone grown up.
I mean, me too.
still-
Like I'm going out there with kids all of
Yeah.
a sudden. You know?
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
the Insta family though. You know, just add water and you got a family.
Watch them grow.
Very much.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, we got to get you going. Got a flight to catch.
Oh, already?
Yeah,
So if you're ever in town again, or if we're ever up there, let's do a follow up.
yeah, we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try to do it again.
Come to the ranch.
That'd be cool to shoot something out there for sure. Yeah,
It's like
We can
great
get out there.
scenery. Get some B-roll.
It's yeah, that's why I like being up there. It's like a photographer's paradise.
Yeah.
Because every day
yeah.
it's like just the ruggedness of the mountains and the weather, the extreme weather.
Every day's a
It
scene.
was snowing when I left.
Oh
and
wow.
It's like full on winter now.
Yeah.
Over there. So I'm gonna go from like the Texas heat back up to
You're
snow.
gonna have some fun getting back out there.
And the winters are brutal. That's the
Yeah,
only-
yeah.
Last winter I was living in my van through the winter, and it's not insulated, and I would wake up covered in ice from just like breathing all night.
oh my gosh.
And just it grinds on
For
the
sure.
nerves.
Yeah.
But then you make it to summer, and it's like the most epic and beautiful
Yeah.
scenery.
We survived again.
Yeah,
Very much. Yeah.
just in time for the next snowfall.
Right, yeah. But now you have like an apartment, so you should be set.
Yeah,
Utilities
I actually
are
have a nice
working.
roof over my head, some radiant floor heating,
Yeah, so it should be good this winter.
and then should be fun. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, dude, thank you.
And
for
like
coming on. Hell yeah.
just the most amazing time at Utopia Fest, hanging out with you guys and just being in Austin again.
We
It's
appreciate
like
it. Yeah.
it was a much needed catharsis.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
for everyone.
Yeah.
been in a super dark place, and you guys like helped breathe life back
Yeah,
into me.
dude, you gotta just keep it burning though. You know, don't let
Yeah,
don't let
it's
it fizzle out.
it's one of those things that's easy to forget.
Yeah.
And then when you're back in it, it's like, oh, right, this
Yeah.
is still going on down here. People
Yeah.
still get together. There's still like family vibes
Yeah.
and connection.
Lots of love.
I mean, it's like it's rare now, but yeah, we do try to get to. I mean, we've what is it called? Like video chatted you or whatever. we got
Yeah,
we
like
all got together.
Thanksgiving family style.
Yeah.
Like, what? Here, talk to Karina.
Talking to the microphone. No, you can't hear us? Damn. Wait, take him off. Put him on the
That
Bluetooth
was
speaker.
really
He's frozen. He's frozen. Hold on.
Such a funny time.
That was a good time. But, yeah.
But no, it's good to at least get together every once in a while. You don't want to overdo it because then you like overstay your welcome or you just get
Of course.
sick of your friends. Like, oh, we were just doing this last week.
Yeah. No, yeah. Definitely, I started to realize that a lot, like in our early 20s for sure. It's like, all right, it's time for something new, y'all. Like, we gotta do something else.
Like, you guys are great and all, much love, but we're doing the same
Yeah.
stuff every week,
That's when everyone started to like kind of,
going off in their own lives.
venture off. So that was.
It's all our own journey, man.
Yeah. But we've managed to like come back, So,
That's the beauty of it.
yeah.
Star Tribe
Still
for
there.
life.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's nice.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you get to join and be a part of it all, too.
In addition
Yes.
to the group.
Thank you for bringing... No, it was fantastic. It was so nice, like, to bring, like, new life and new experience.
Yeah,
And,
it's crazy.
yeah, the whole thing, I was just so grateful and just,
That is so lovely.
yeah,
Yeah.
much
it was-
love and
it
gratitude
was
to
a crazy
everybody.
experience. Stressful, no doubt, because
Yeah.
with the kids.
Well, that's the thing, because it's like, it's such a rush to get out there to Utopia, because you have to set aside your entire life.
Yeah, yeah.
And to the traveling involved and the prep, to be out there to camp for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you finally get there for like a few hours of just like, I made it.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
We're still trying to recover and catch up. Gotta
yeah.
get back to the routine. It's hard.
Back to the real world.
We have a jiu-jitsu class that we'll try to make. I don't know. We'll see.
Back to reality.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to Jared for joining us as well. And we'll catch you guys next.
Thanks for having this podcast. I love listening to it while I'm all sad and alone up in the mountains. I feel like I actually have friends
Yeah,
there
keep in
in my
touch,
place. So thanks for putting all this
Sure.
together.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure for
It's
sure.
a lot of fun.
Watching.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. Thanks a lot, y'all. See you later.
Bye.